Okay, you guys, we are starting a new section of our module today, so we're not completely forgetting our parallel lines cut by transversal. We're still in that same module of measurement geometry, but we're looking at the triangle sum theorem today. Okay, there's going to be two parts to this. So you guys need to follow along with me in your notes. Pause the video when you need to, when it's appropriate. But make sure if I have it on my page of notes, you all have it on yours as well. So how do I determine the measures of angles in a triangle? That's what we're looking at. Triangle thumb theorem is a theorem that states that the measures of all interior angles of a triangle add up to 180 degrees. There's that magic number again that we keep seeing when we're talking about angles and lines and things like that. The 180 degrees in interior angles mean the inside angles of the triangle. The inside angles of a triangle add up to the 180 degrees. So the inside of a triangle, of course, is actually inside the lines of this triangle. So 100 degrees here would be an interior angle, 55 degrees would be an interior angle, and then we're missing an angle measurement right there. So we can use this theorem that all three of these angles should add up to 180 degrees to be able to figure out what that missing angle is. If we add up these other two and then subtract from 180, that's going to tell us what this missing angle is. And there's a little bit of a equation we could write out to help us do that. We know that 100 plus 55 plus our missing angle should add up to 180 degrees. Now this is a pretty simple equation. We just need to add together the two constants and then move it over to the other side. 100 plus 55 is 155. So we have 155 plus x equals 180. All that's left is to move this constant over here to the other side so we can figure out what x equals. Inverse operation says if this is a positive 155, we're going to subtract 155 from both sides. 0 pairs there. X equals 180 minus 55, which equals equals 25. Okay, x equals 25. So that says that missing angle degree equals 25. Now that's basically the same thing that I said in the beginning, that you're just going to add up these two numbers here. That's what we did here. And then subtract from 180, which is what we did here. Okay, so this is just an equation. It's just a neater way of showing that that's what we're doing. Again, I'm going to repeat. The triangle sum theorem says that all three of the inside angles of any triangle, okay, is going to add up to 180 degrees. So moving down here to this next problem, these are those types of problems that we were working on where you have to solve for x to figure out what is the angle measurement, but we still use that same idea that if we add up all three of these angles in an equation, they should add up to 180. And as long as we have two sides of an equation, we have a number that they should all add up to, then we can figure out what x is, and if we figure out what x is, we can figure out what these angle measurements are. So we're going to set it up the same way we did our equation up here, but instead of just having those numbers to work with, now we have those expressions to work with. So we're going to have 7x plus 4, that's our first angle here, plus 5x plus 3, that's our second angle, plus 2x plus 5. That's our third angle. And all three of those added together need to equal 180 degrees. Now this looks really long, but it's not too bad. And if we're looking at our don't call me after midnight steps, there's not actually many of these steps you're going to have to take care of here. We don't have parentheses to distribute through, but we do have a lot of combining like terms because we have 3 different x terms that need to be combined together before we can do anything else. And then we also have 3 constants that need to be added together before we can do anything else. And I'm saying adding them because they're all positive numbers here. We're not worrying about any negatives. They literally just have to be added. 7x plus 5x is 12x. 12x plus 2x is 14x. So those are my combining like terms with my x terms. And then for my constants, 4 plus 3 is 7. 7 plus 5 is 12. So I have 14x plus 12. I've combined all those like terms. 4x plus 12 should equal 180 degrees. We do not have to move a variable here because we only have the one variable on one side of our equal sign. But we do have to add or subtract this constant right here to be on the other side. We don't want to move the 180 because that would leave nothing on that side, but we do want to move the 12. So we have the term with the x on one side and the constant on the other. Opposite of addition, that plus 12 is going to be to subtract it. To undo that, we're going to subtract it from both sides. There's my 0 pair. And I have 14x equals 180 minus 12, which ends up being, let's see, that's 8, 6, 168. So then we have the last step here, multiply or divide. We're going to divide because we have to separate 14 from the x, separate that coefficient from the variable here. 14 times x, how do you undo that? By dividing with the number that you want to get rid of. So we're going to divide by 14 on both sides. Once we divide by 14 over here, 14 divided by 14 is not 0. That equals 1x, which is what we're looking for. And then 168 divided by 14 equals 12. So our x equals 12 here. But what we're looking for really is besides solving for x, now we have to plug that x back in to where the x is on at least 2 of these expressions. Once we find the 2 angles, we can find the third pretty easily by just subtracting from that 180. Okay, so we're going to take, let's see where I've got some space here. I'm going to take a different color to do this part. I'm going to plug 12 into 7x plus 4. So up here, I'm going to say 7 times x, but instead of x, I'm going to plug in that 12 plus 4. 7 times 12 is, well, let's see, 6 times 12 is what? Let's see, 5 times 12 is 60. 6 times 12 is 72. 7 times 12 is, let's see, 84. So we have 84 plus 4. 84 plus 4 is 88. So that says that this angle degrees is 88 degrees. And then we have one more to plug in. I'm going to plug into this, excuse me, that was my computer. This angle measurement right here, we have 5, instead of 5 times x, I'm going to say 5 times 12 plus 3. 5 times 12 is 60. 60 plus 3 is 63. So we have 63 degrees here. And the last, we don't have to plug into this last one. We can, or we can just say, well, I know 88 plus 63 subtracted from 180 is going to give us that angle measurement. If we did want to go ahead and use this expression, it would also work. That's just taking 2 times 12 plus 5. 2 times 12 is 24. Plus 5 equals 29 degrees. Now all 3 of those should add up to 180 degrees, and we can test that out. 88, let me get a different color for this section also, just so we can see the difference. We're looking at 88 plus 63 plus 29. Well, let's see, 3 plus 9 is 12, and then 12 plus 8 is 20. And then 2 plus 8 is 10. 10 plus 8 is 16. Plus 2 is 18. That is 180 degrees. So again, we're using the fact that all three angles inside a triangle, the interior angles, are always going to add up to 180 degrees. Okay? That is your triangle sum theorem. We're going to go ahead and move to part 2 of the video in just a moment.